This is Your Other Brothers Podcast.
Sorta. What's up, homies? I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to the ConvoCast. My name is Tom, and I'm the co-founder, editor of Your Other Brothers, and we're a community navigating faith, homosexuality, masculinity, and coronavirus together. And I'm bringing back our good old friend, Dean. What's up, Dean?
What's up, guys? I'm sorry. It took me a moment. Tom just said homies, and
You may have missed the last run of shows, but I've landed on What's Up, Homies as my new greeting because we are all sheltered at home. So therefore, you are, by definition, my homie.
You know, I didn't think you saying homies could get worse, and then you gave the explanation. And somehow, this is worse.
You know,
congratulations, Tom. You have found new lows.
I had to find, you know me. I had to find something different, something eclectic, something perfect for this dreaded, awful time that we're all in. And so,
yes, I do know.
finding homies in the midst of us all being trapped in our homes, I figured that was the way to go. So that's how we're doing it. Dean, it's so good to have you back for another run, another go at this. Thanks for coming back to the ConvoCast.
Thanks. Well, thank you for asking. I was excited to get you reaching out to me, asking me to do this. I've enjoyed the last one, and I almost listened to all of it. So, you know.
This is our second convocation. I'm so excited for it.
Number 2.
Well, yeah. First of all, Dean, I want to wish you a happy belated Easter.
Thank you.
And I hope it was fun. I know you have a little daughter. Did you do anything special for Easter? Were there any Easter egg hunts in the living room, or just anything special?
Yeah, it was actually, there was nice weather outside, so we did end up having the Easter egg hunt outside.
Nice.
And we were still under a group of 10 technically, but our 2 immediate neighbors, our kids have they're around each other all the time. And so we discussed with the parents, and we were just like, hey, here's the deal. If one of our kids does happen to get it, we already know they're all going to get it. And so we discussed it. So there's 4 kids, there's 4 little girls, they all live in between the 3 houses. And so we said, okay, we're going to be smart. We're going to protect the kids, but we need something for the kids to do because they're younger. So we had an Easter egg hunt together the day before Easter. And then Easter Sunday was, we had a Zoom church that we went to, and then just relaxed all day. My wife, Lisa, did make an Easter basket for our daughter.
Nice.
So she got a lot of frozen stuff and a lot of gardening stuff because she really wants to garden this spring, which will be interesting to see if our daughter has any abilities with gardening, because Lisa and I kill plants.
You kill plants for a living.
That's what we do for a living. We just kill the plants, all of them. My wife killed a cactus one time.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I don't know if you can see in my background, there is a cactus.
Oh my gosh, you have a cactus. Those things are impossible to kill.
Dean, so this is a 3-stalked cactus. You know what? I'm going to just show you. I'm going to, hold on.
Please.
I'm going to bring the microphone down. I'll be right back.
Okay, so while he's done, I have this all to myself. So let me just get real with you guys. Tom, if for real, is one of the sweetest people of all. I wasn't just saying anything about
What were you saying? I didn't hear anything.
I said nothing.
Are you ready for this travesty? Are you ready for this disaster?
I can't wait for this.
Look at this cactus. So it's got 3 stalks. 2 of them are basically brown at this point. One of them is still vibrant green with a bright fake yellow flower on top of it.
Oh my gosh.
But this thing is slowly dying. And I quickly realized I overwatered the thing because they don't require much water.
No.
But I was like, how much do I water it? Once a week? Once a month? And so I was doing once every 10 days, I think. And even so, dead, dying, decrepit. I don't know what I'm doing.
That's very obvious from the state of your cacti.
I was like, surely if I get a cactus and I had a succulent before this, guess what happened to the succulent?
Okay. No. You can't. Don't tell me you killed a succulent.
I did. I sure
How?
did. I don't know.
How do you
I
kill
overwatered
a succulent?
it, I guess. I don't know.
You don't do anything with succulents. That's the point of a succulent. They sit there.
That's what they say. They say you just get it and let it run itself. It's the cats of plant life, but
Basically.
not so. This thing died.
Oh my gosh, Tom.
Its leaf just literally crumpled and fell off of the stem, and that was that.
Ugh, Tom, dear heavens.
So I'm doing my best with plant life. I have 2 others that so far I'm keeping alive, and we'll see where that takes us. But.
So what metaphor can you draw from the fact that you have 2 dead cacti and one that's flourishing? What metaphor can we create?
There is probably a spiritual metaphor there, like the man who built his house on the too wet soil, and the other one who built his house on also too wet soil. Because the other one is like planted on top of the 2 cactuses on top of the wet soil. So maybe he's just got enough high ground to survive this thing. I don't know.
You grow better when you grow in the ashes of those who have died before you.
Right.
There we go.
Right. The key is to surround yourself with people more dead than you, and then you will thrive.
See, so this is how I help people, because I'm dead on the inside, and so I help other people by being more dead than they are.
Really, for anyone listening, if you can just compare yourself to others, find others who are worse than you, then you'll feel better about yourself. How does that sound?
That's out of scripture, right? Somewhere in the Bible it says that.
I hope everyone can hear the sarcasm. Please hear the sarcasm. Okay. I don't want anyone taking my advice seriously.
I'm being completely truthful, and I'm an ordained minister. So, you have to. Basically, what I say is the word of God. So.
The word of God speaks here today. Exactly.
We're going to get an angry letter about that one. I apologize now.
Please. It's okay. I haven't gotten an angry letter in a while. Sometimes you need one of those to just keep the juices flowing, keep things lively, keep things exciting. I'm all for it.
Yeah, if we haven't got enough angry letters, that means I haven't written something controversial enough yet. I need to get back into that.
You need to get something more controversial out into the YOB-verse here soon. Been far too long. Well, Dean, when you mentioned Easter egg hunts with your daughter and her little friends, it reminded me of my first ever TikTok that I posted.
Oh my gosh, you have a TikTok?
I sure do. I'm really putting this TikTok out into the universe. My first TikTok that I posted was on Easter Sunday, and I thought it was fine. I'm no expert, I'm no creative genius, but this was my first one, so I was learning how to do it. But I had this idea for a TikTok on Easter Sunday for a quarantined Easter egg hunt. And basically all it was a 5-second clip of me walking to the kitchen, opening the fridge, and showing the eggs in the fridge. And that was my quarantine Easter egg hunt.
That is what you would think is funny, isn't it?
And it was like dead silent. Yeah, dead silent. Nothing in the background. It was just like, open the door. There's the eggs. Check. Did that. Got that done.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like you. I think if you had... Here's the thing, Tom. If you had said, Dean, Tom's going to create a TikTok. What's it going to involve? Legitimately, one of my answers would have been, it's probably going to involve eggs somehow.
I have a thing for eggs.
You do have a thing for eggs, because I'm thinking about Tom's eggs now.
Yeah, at the retreat, we used to have these retreats years ago where I would cook eggs for breakfast, because it's like my easiest thing. I'm not a huge cook in the kitchen. I'm getting better. I'm getting a little more daring and doing other things, but eggs I've always been comfortable with, and I spice it up. I put some garlic and some cream and some scallions, and it's just like a beautiful little conglomeration.
I remember because I missed the first time that you made the eggs. I wasn't at that retreat. I heard about it. I heard about Tom's eggs. There's a Twitter account, I think, still active somewhere about Tom's eggs.
There's a slightly off-color Twitter account for those that want to dig deep and try to find it.
Yes. And then the next time we had a retreat, you said, I'm going to make the eggs. I went, okay, sweet. You make the eggs. And so I think something I don't remember what it was, but you got up and you're like, okay, I'm going to help with breakfast. I'm going to make the eggs. And I was like, okay, eggs take when I cook eggs, it's like 5 6 minutes maybe.
Right.
And you're like, okay, when are we having breakfast? And I was like, oh, I got the bacon to finish up, pancakes. I was like, it's probably gonna be like 20, 30 minutes. And you went, okay, I'll start the eggs. And I just went, no, you don't need to start the eggs. And you went, no. This takes a while. And I don't know if you saw the look I gave you, but if anyone else saw the look, if anyone else saw the look I gave you, it was a look that I've now coined personally as, of course, Tom.
The of course Tom
Of course Tom look. If you ask Andy, he will know exactly what I'm talking about because he does this look as well. And whenever he and I, whenever you come up in our conversations, we end up saying, of course, Tom, and making the look at each other.
I can visualize it. I think I know the look that you're talking about because my brother gives it to me often.
Mm-hmm. So then you proceeded to spend 20 to 25 minutes making eggs. And I was in disbelief. That was actually the last thing that was ready. It was the last thing started, and then it was the last thing ready. And I was like, this should have been the first thing ready.
What can I say? It's a labor of love, and I pour my heart and soul into these eggs.
So. And you did. And then here's the thing. Here's the other funny thing, Tom. The next time we were at a retreat together, I knew Tom's going to want to make the eggs. We need this much time. And I even asked you the night before, said, Tom, I have the eggs. I have everything set up in case you want to make eggs. And you went, no, I'm good. I don't need to make the eggs this year.
I just wasn't feeling it that year, I guess.
Nope. And the of course Tom look came right back.
I got to keep people on their toes. I got to keep it fresh. You know what I mean?
You do. You indeed keep it fresh.
Fresh. I had so this is the beauty of the ConvoCast because I had no concept that we would talk about eggs for 10 minutes. Like that's amazing that we've somehow done that. We've accomplished that. But real quick, the other TikTok, so I've made a couple.
Oh my gosh.
The TikTok that I've made is a Parks and Rec TikTok.
Okay.
Which hopefully brings you back on board. It's that scene with, first, the premise of it is I'm still waiting for my IRS stimulus check. I don't know who all out there has gotten their IRS stimulus checks or how the process for that works. But I was getting frustrated by it. And I was like, how can I turn this into humor? And so, because I'm checking the website, and the website is not helpful at all. I'm getting nowhere on the website. Good. I'm glad you can relate. So if you remember that Parks and Rec episode where Chris replaces Ron's desk with a big circular swivel desk in the middle of the office, which is like Ron's worst nightmare because he's exposed to everybody. So the scene that I cut, it was like the 10 or 15 second scene where this agitated woman comes to the desk to talk to the parks director about some sort of problem that she's having in her neighborhood or something. And basically Ron just swivels in his chair away from her while she's like walks around the outside of the desk trying to get his attention, and he just keeps swiveling away. And so I captioned it with the agitated woman are the Americans trying to figure out where their stimulus checks are, and Ron is the IRS website, just not reciprocating whatsoever.
Okay, that one's good. I can relate to it, and also it's Parks and Rec. Yeah, the woman comes in there and she goes, "Excuse me, sir, there's a sign in the park that says do not drink the water. So I made some tea with it, and now I have a staph infection." And it's just
and she starts following him, and when she notices what's happening, she just goes,
Sir,
are you listening to me?" Like the most perfect agitated older woman. It was great. It was just such one of my favorite Parks and Rec scenes. I love that so much.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I'm waiting for the IRS to stimulate me as well. They have not started.
There it is.
They have not started stimulating me, and so I'm left unstimulated by the IRS.
I knew you had to take that there. It's just
where, Tom?
Low hanging fruit. That's it. That was how you do it. But anyway, yeah. So I hope I'm glad. Well, I'm not glad that you don't have your IRS stimulus check too, because I hope that you get it as well as me. But I at least know that I'm not alone. This is a comfort to know that I'm not alone in having it. And I'm sure there are plenty of people listening right now who are also wondering, America, where are you? Where are you in my time of need?
Yep. You're not alone.
And nobody knows.
You're not alone. Even the sparrow doesn't have his stimulus check from the IRS.
What would be the equivalent of a sparrow's stimulus check? Like a worm? A big juicy worm?
Even the sparrow doesn't have a worm.
Yeah.
There
are other sparrows without worms.
I guess, so what would be the equivalent of the IRS then to the sparrow? Is that like? Is it another bird? Is it like an eagle? Maybe.
Yeah, it's like who is the sparrow paying rent to
Mm,
in the home, or paying? Yeah, who does he report to?
yeah. Who does the arrow? Who does the sparrow pay taxes to? Is my question. And what is tax to a sparrow? Is it worms? Like, yeah. I don't, there's
This
so
is
many
such
questions in that.
Yeah, this is such a metaphor laden episode. I'm super stoked for it. I hope our listeners are not just utterly confused right now. Like, what are they talking about?
If you
Where
are
is this going?
if you are still listening, congratulations.
You made it this far, talking about eggs and TikTok for 20 minutes. Got this far.
I have thought about getting a TikTok and doing something, but I feel like I can't because I still, even though TikTok is this huge cultural, even worldwide
It's a
phenomenon,
phenomenon,
yeah,
especially in quarantine. Yeah.
especially right now, I still, every time I hear it, cannot help but think of the Kesha song,
Mm.
which I don't even know all the words to. So
It's pronounced $. Ha.
if I could, I would punch you,
That is what
Bob.
I have always called her. I've always called her that, and it makes me laugh. I don't know if it makes other people laugh, or if other people also call her that. But
See this face?
is that the O Tom face? What did you call it?
The of course Tom.
Of course, Tom. The O
Of
Tom.
course Tom. Of
There it
course
is.
Tom.
If y'all
face.
could see it right now, just imagine what it looks like. That's probably what it looks like.
Please take a picture and post your own, of course, Tom face.
Yeah,
We would
whenever Tom
love to see
says
it.
something, yeah. I would love to see that. I would absolutely love to see that. Well, hey, Dean, we have to go soon. So in our remaining minutes, we were talking about quarantine, and Ryan and I discussed this a little bit on the last episode because we were talking about the ways that the world is giving back during this time of quarantine. Like, we're all finding ways to be creative and do creative things from our homes. And so the ConvoCast is my love letter to the universe through this pandemic. But someone named Pastor Matt from Vintage Raleigh, who was on our show, I don't know, 15, 20 episodes ago,
Yep.
the way he decided to give back to the universe during quarantine was doing his Jesus videos live. And I
And
know that you are far bigger of a fan of these videos than I am, and I'm a pretty big fan.
yeah.
And I know you were there. Ryan and I were talking about watching it live. He voiced all the characters, all the sketches live as it played on the screen on YouTube, and I linked it in our last ConvoCast. And I just wanted to, before we go, get your thoughts on what that meant to you and how you enjoyed that.
Oh my gosh. I was basically like, it started, and he taught, like, I loved it as well because it wasn't just, I was a little bit wondering, like, okay, is it just going to be him, like, being like, hey, here's the first win, and then, like, nothing. But I love that he took the time to interact. And I love that
Yeah.
he took the time to explain more. And I'm, full confession, I've gotten to meet him in person. And we were talking about other things because he's a pastor. I work in ministry, and so we were talking about a few things related to ministry. But there was a portion of the conversation where I was like, "Okay, Matt, please, there's some things I need to know about Jesus."
Wait, the Jesus or the fake weird Jesus that he
The
created?
fake weird Jesus.
Okay.
His Jesus. I needed to know some things about his Jesus. And so I've gotten to talk, but like there were things that he was introducing that I hadn't even thought to ask or that I didn't know. And it was so great to hear. So like he popped up on screen and started talking, and like I had tears in my eyes immediately. And then it was like the greatest thing. I was commenting a ton on those videos. And I loved it. And it meant a lot because I explained this to him several times before. Like those videos for me were a turning point because I didn't come to find out about them until like 2011, I think is what it was. And that was one for me. Like I was just at that point embracing my faith for my own. I was really understanding the Bible. I was understanding God. I was understanding Jesus for myself and not just based on what other people told me. And those videos were amazing because it poked fun at all of the old ideas that I had or that I had been told growing up or had been taught or had been implied. And it was amazing to see someone else point it out and say, this is almost the complete opposite of what Jesus is supposed to be, of who he is. And for me, it meant so much to see someone else that I never met talk about that and introduce that concept. And so they actually meant a ton to me at that point in time. So I watched them way too much. If I could, I would quote them all the time. But the only reason I don't is because I've showed them to people around me, but they don't buy in as much as I do. So I can't quote them as much as I want to. But yeah, I love and adore those videos, and Matt is amazing. So for me, I told my wife, I made sure the kid was down for a nap in the afternoon.
This was an event. You had to clear the calendar out.
I cleared the calendar. I put off grocery shopping one day to sit there and be like, I am sitting here and I am watching this because I am not going to miss this event.
This is literally a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like, we never thought we would ever see something like this. So,
oh my gosh, if you had,
and you know what, I'd like to think that your other brothers had a pivotal role in making this happen, because prior to him coming on our podcast and doing the voice for our podcast on the church inclusion episode that we did, he had only done the voice in public one time in like 20 years, 15, 20 years. So like, I'd like to think we were something of a catalyst to get him to the mental headspace where he could do something like this. And for that, I am incredibly grateful.
I will be more than happy to, help with some of that credit, because I remember I was one of the ones that pushed for him to be on the podcast, and then begged to be on the podcast with him. And if I remember correctly, I didn't necessarily add a lot to the podcast because it was mainly
just you geeking out over just seeing him contort his face. That was the best part, is just like seeing him visually transform into these beloved strange characters. Yeah, it was so great.
It was so great. So yeah, that, honestly, loved it. I adore Matt, and I have already put in for adoption papers so that he will become my father.
Nice.
Because I love him that much, and
he's swell. Yeah, he's a great guy. This is our second episode now that we're giving a huge shout out and showing some love for Pastor Matt. So big shout out to Pastor Matt. #WeirdJesus. We love you. It was a good time. We will have to have him back on the podcast one day. Although I almost feel guilty, like wanting to have him come back with this hope that he would do the voice again, even though he's a great human and he has plenty of perspective and certainly things to offer beyond a weird, strange Jesus voice. But admittedly, selfishly, I just want to hear that voice again in my presence. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, we'll cross when we get there. And again, if he's ever on a podcast, I am contractually obligated
to be there. Yeah.
And that's a contract I'm making you sign. I don't even always have me on there.
I don't even want to think about a reality where he comes back on the podcast and you're not on that episode. I don't want to face you after that, because I feel like that would not be good. That would not be good. I would get worse than an of course Tom face.
Oh, you would not get an of course Tom face. You would get Tom, you about to be dead face.
And on that note, that's it. We're out of time. We are out of time here today. Thank you all for listening to another episode of the Corona ConvoCast. Hey, if you're interested in anything we're doing with Your Other Brothers, check out yourotherbrothers.com. Follow us on all the socials at Your Other Bros. We're doing the ConvoCast all this week, and we'll be doing it next week as well. And then we'll see from there. The YOB-cast is coming back eventually. I was going to say soon, but that's probably not correct. Eventually, the YOB-cast will be back, but we've got at least another couple weeks of the ConvoCast, and we'll just kind of see how things are going in this age of coronavirus. We're getting somewhere. We're getting there. So remember, y'all, you're not alone. Even the sparrow stays at home. Stay home, but stay connected. And Dean, I look forward to connecting with you again soon.
Me too, Tom.
All right, brother. Take it easy, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Bye.